I want to talk to you real quick about proper technique when rolling a wall. Obviously, it all starts with how much paint you have in the pan, how much paint is on your roller. We're dealing with a roller here that's already has been saturated in paint. We'll go over how to properly saturate paint in a different video on your roller sleeve. But this case, I want to just show you we're dealing with, that's about a 10-foot wall, I would say. We're typically dealing with 8-foot openings. That about 9.5 actually, probably something like that. But I want to show you how we want it done as far as back rolling, where you can cut off, and we're going to teach you a system so that everybody can pick up that system, and especially anybody watching this video on exactly how we would like to see the rolling done. So the very first thing is I never bury my roller super deep inside of the pan. It stays very close on top. If you want to get a closer video of this, can you see inside of the pan here? So if you dip it down in there, you're loading way too much paint on. You're just barely letting it touch just the top edge of the paint and carrying very little paint up the pan, and then the pan, while you roll it like this, helps filter out what paint needs to be on the roller and what paint doesn't. You'll notice when I lift my roller here, I don't have anything dripping off of this roller sleeve. That's exactly what you want. If you are regularly getting drips coming off of your roller sleeves, you have way too much paint on that roller sleeve. Just continue to work it at the top of your pan until you can lift it off and don't have any paint on the roller sleeve. So what I teach is any 9.5, 10.5 foot walls, you can use the same process as an 8-foot wall. You're going to go 18 inches. I'm going to start here in the middle of the wall. It's not where I typically start, but I want to show you the full length of it rather than starting over here. Normally you would start when you roll over here from the side. But I always do an 18 inch. So this is a 9-inch roller. You know that with one dip in the pan, you can go halfway up the ceiling by 18 inches. So what I do is I know, I'm just doing this for visual purposes, but I know I can go that far halfway up the wall with just one roller dip. And I'll show you. So I start, you always want to use the V formation. What is the V formation? Start at the top of where your line would be, bring it down to the bottom of where your 18 inches would be, and then straight back up. And then you can fill in from there. So you're bringing it down. About halfway down the wall. And there you go, right? Some people would say, well, what about this hard lines here? You'll see about that in a second. So then I come back in, I re-dip, I make sure that there's not too much paint on my roller. Once again, if you have paint on your roller dripping off, you have too much paint. Bring it back up, I know that I can go down the rest of the way. Same V formation, only opposite direction there. Coming up. Then I always, this is your finishing edge. Factory manufacturer says you always finish your wall with this. So we're going to pretend that this is already done. So my finishing edge, I'm going to go from left to right. And you always carry it from the top or from the bottom all the way to the top. I'm not using any pressure. This is just allowing all the heavy lines that might be in there to come right on out. You always finish your 18-inch section with your finishing edge on the side. Carry it up and down. Then you can start again. You go again, get it to where there's not enough drips. Come up, start with the V formation, down, up. You know you got 18 inches there. Fill in. Dip again. No drips. V formation. And then finish with the feather. All the way up, no pressure. I'm not putting any pressure, my hand's underneath the pole. I'm just stopping the pole, just stability, up and down. This is especially, that process is so important when you're doing a flat wall. When you're doing a textured wall, not nearly as important. But if that was a flat, you're rolling out the sheen perfectly and it's gonna look good. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in this over here before I get a heavy line, using pretty much the same process. But at this point, I already know I'm halfway up the wall, so I'm only going 18 inches, V formation from the top to the bottom. And then once again, feathering out. No pressure here. Getting rid of lines, leveling out my sheen. But always using the taper end and going away from the tapered end. Once again, dip. Work my way into it. No pressure. Just like that. Now naturally I wouldn't be going into something that's already starting to set up, but for video purposes, I wanted to show you and start from the middle of the room. Now, in the next video, we're going to show you the importance of a roller pole. Roller poles are going to be your best friend when it comes to rolling a wall. Notice again, finishing with the finishing edge of the roller sleeve. Rolling poles are your best friend. We're going to talk about that in a different video. That's exactly how we want the walls rolled. You always keep your pan. I like to keep my pan right in front of me. It's better than having to turn every time. It's right there in front of me as I work my way down the wall. There's no reason ever why you should have to walk across the room to go get your rolling pan and come back to the wall. That's ridiculous. Bring your pan to you. Make sure it's right beside you at all times. And then that way you can perform the same consistency every time is what you want. Once you get this down as a strategy, there you go. I filled in. I did not do a back roll there, you notice. $18 inches. Now back roll time. No pressure, all the way up, all the way down. Take note where I'm holding the pole at, how I'm holding the pole. Thumbs for stability. I know little things like that seem general knowledge to some people, but it's not general knowledge to everybody. So little stuff like that, take note of. Gary, can you grab me some more paint for this pan? Yep. You know what paint that is? This one, obviously, I can't go 18 inches. I'm still going to use the same exact amount of paint here. Run out of paint. You positive that's it? Oh man. Feathering out. Feather out. All right, we'll finish out that wall with just obviously I don't need a ton of paint for up there. Just gonna grab a little bit. And then feather out. And that's the end of that. That's exactly how very, very easy system to pick up. If you do it consistently the exact same time, the exact same way, you're going to get the exact same consistent results. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for consistent results things that you can replicate and things that you can teach other people very, very quickly. That's exactly how we want the walls rolled.